People always asking, well, how did you start your podcast? How did you get started? How did you get your podcast in all these different outlets? The answer is Anchor. I use Anchor. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free. It's easy to use, and it can match you now with a great sponsor who wants to advertise with your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now with this ad. I'm getting paid. It's easy to use. Just go to your Google store, download Anchor, or you go to your iTunes, download Anchor, and it's completely free. No excuses, family. The power of ownership. Take the power in your hand. Start doing. Stop watching. Start doing. Peace. I'm on Anchor. Let's do a mic check real quick. Make sure I can hear you. Go ahead, Barry.
All right, mic check, mic check.
Okay. It's picking up a little bit. Probably not as much as my voice, but it is picking up a little bit. All right, so peace to the family. This is Brandon B. Dixon, and you're tuned into another episode of the Power of Ownership podcast. I got my guest host, Barry Bolston, in from Keller Williams Professionals. Barry, go ahead and holler at him, and then I'll go ahead and introduce everything.
All right, how's everybody doing? Not getting into that summertime now. Stay cool.
Gotcha.
All right, power of ownership.
Right. So, my name is, if this is your first time tuning in, my name is Brandon B. Dixon. I'm a published author, serial entrepreneur, a mortgage broker as well. If you want to go ahead and apply for a mortgage, go to my website, www.applywithb.com. Right now, it's the busy season. We were just talking off air how, swamped I was this weekend. So, I'm just finding time. That's why we're a couple hours late for the show. So just finding time to go ahead and record the show here. But mortgages are coming in. People are still buying. Don't buy into the hype. If you need to move, go ahead and there's inventory out there. We're going to get into it a little bit more in the show. But people are still moving. People are still buying. People are still getting properties. Also, I want to shout out our sponsors. HoustonCondoSales.com. So if you need a condo in the Houston area, that's the best site to go to, www.HoustonCondoSales.com. I'm on it daily myself. I'm always looking for investment properties or good deals or anything like that. If you want to invest, go to www.HoustonCondoSales.com. It's a site for Houstonians by Houstonians. If you're moving to Houston from California, gas prices got too high, go ahead and if you want a condo, high-rise, townhouse, all of that stuff is on there. HoustonCondoSales.com. Check that out. Also, our sponsor as well. We got a new sponsor. Go to www.bullypalace.com. So if you like, if you're into any type of dog, but they specialize in the bully culture. So if you got any Frenchies, any American Bulldogs, English Bulldogs, and you want to get into those foals and stuff like that, they got the shampoo pop, and I got some of that myself. They got gear coming soon, and they got the online community as well. So go to www.bullypalace.com. That's another one of our sponsors. Also, before I turn it over to Barry, I want to go ahead and plug my book as well. Sales, the Nucleus of Any Profession. It's out right now on Amazon, so go ahead and just put my name in, Brandon B. Dixon, and it's ready to go. Also, I have 2 ebooks that's dropping this summer, so be on the lookout for that. That's coming. It's going to be free of charge, so be on the lookout for that. So, Barry, go ahead and introduce yourself. I know that was kind of long at this time, but go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll introduce the show, and then we'll get going.
All right, how's everybody doing? So it's Barry Bolson with Keller Williams Professionals. I sell homes. If you want to sell, buy, lease, or invest in property, give me a call or email, or and you can look me up. I'm on all social media, Facebook at Homes by Barry B. My website is www.homesbarryb.com. I'm on TikTok at BarryB_Realtor. I'm on IG, Spring Homes by Barry B. Pretty much if you go to Google and you just put in Homes by Barry B, you're gonna get me. number is 832-786-1270. And also, I have a book that I use to help people that are thinking about selling their home. So it talks about how to sell your home. So you can email me, give me a call, or give me a message on social media, and I can get you a book. That's pretty much it. Like I said, Homes by Barry B. If you just Google that, I'm coming up.
Gotcha. All right, and for those who this is the first time was not familiar with the show, The Power of Ownership, what we usually talk about is not only ownership of properties and businesses, but we also talk about ownership of the mind, body, and soul. How to bridge the gap between the unseen and the seen realm. So, we give you structure as well. So it's just not, I was thinking about this yesterday. You see all these guys now that's jumping into the social media realm, and everything that they're doing is like, abstract, tutorials. All right, here's what earnest money means. It's like, but it's kind of boring. So, unless that really pertains to you in that particular time and space, most people are not going to pay attention. I think the reason why, we got a core audience at the Power of Ownership podcast, I'm trying to expand it to the YouTube, but, that's a tough nut to crack. But the reason why I think I got an audio audience, like out there in Google and Spotify, is because it's a little bit more than just the average, hey, what is APR, and I'm, people, unless you're specifically looking for that, it's kind of boring. So that's why we kind of go a little bit deeper, and it's a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more insightful, a little bit more meat on the bone, should I say, as opposed to this, just hey, this is what closing costs means, and stuff that people could Google, and you're just basically repeating what you see on Google. I think that's kind of boring. I never really did that. And if you want that type of stuff, hey, just ask me and I'll DM you a Google clip of it, So we're a little bit different here at the Power of Ownership podcast. So if you're looking for tips on mortgages, I could give that, but that's not what the show is about. It's a little bit more insightful, inspirational, aspirational, so on and so forth. Let's get into our topic real quick, because we don't want to keep it too long. We'll probably wrap this up in about 30 minutes here. Just want to, get your insight on this stuff. And I was thinking the other day, just, by looking at the climate of what's going on with the market in real estate, and everybody's on this doom and gloom thing. Hey, the market's going to crash, the sky's falling, Chicken Little type thing. And everybody is painting the picture of weight. And I just went to thinking, like, we, especially in our community, we always fall right into the plan of what this is, how the economy works. The economy always ebbs and flows. That's the nature of it. We always fall into this, recession, kind of drawback every time somebody painted. And the whole time, the rich are getting richer. And instead of participating in the drawback, we go into hiatus, and we go into this shell, and it hurts you more than it actually helps you. So the whole cliche is, don't wait to buy real estate, buy real estate and wait, applies. But for some reason in our community, anytime the picture's painted that something's going to happen, we draw back. And I just had the thought, and we're going to put it up for discussion. Do we have arrested development? And what arrested development mean? I just dug it all the way down to the bottom of the core of the problem, and I want to talk about the whole diaspora of it. But the arrested development means, are we scared to grow up? Are we scared to get out of the shell? Are we scared to take chances? Are we scared to take risks? Are we scared to do something different than we did 5 years ago? So I'll go ahead and open that up to you, Barry, and then let's hit it from a couple of different angles.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is definitely something that definitely affects our community. One of the one things I think we listen to media too much, you know,
Right.
and they're coming on these talk shows and these whatever shows, and now with social media, you see the ads coming up, and then I've seen them. I mean, I'll just scroll through and you'll see somebody's video. Oh, it's coming. The sky, like you said, the sky is falling.
Right.
Now, I believe a recession is coming
Right.
because you can't give out all this free money they gave out a couple years ago and not expect it to come back around.
Right.
Right? Value of the dollar going down. So I believe in that. But you can still prosper even in a recession. And for some reason, I see these people always going to crash. Now they went to the extreme. Look at the market. This is down, and this stock is down. It's about to crash. You better be ready. You gotta be. And I think we listen to the media too much. One minute we talk about how when other social issues we talk about, oh, you can't believe the media. You can't believe the media because they're just trying to do this. But then when we're talking about our money and everything, now you want to believe the media.
Right.
And you have to understand who's running the media. Those people that are getting rich. So that is definitely, I think, one of the main things is listening to the media. Like I said, you see people making little ads, and I'm thinking that y'all just trying to sell some little program or some little, hey, give me this money, I can help y'all make money during a recession, and you won't lose all your money during this crash. And I just don't believe there's a crash coming. This is not the same atmosphere as it was in 2008 when we did have a crash.
Right.
The same atmosphere.
Right. I mean, the facts are nobody really knows. Everybody's speculating. Then if there are crashes coming, or if there are recession, like I said, I believe there's a recession coming as well. But the thing about recessions is it's not the time to hoard money. Nobody's ever saved their way into being rich or being well off. You know, you have to invest and you have to risk it in order to make it. It takes money to make money, the old cliche. So, and I've heard somebody the other day said, a client of mine say, yeah, when I don't want to have the prices fall on my house. I doubt that very seriously. And how can we have 7% inflation and your house, the price of your house fall next year? So I would say it would stop increasing. It would fall, go flat. But when's the last time you seen, besides 2008, houses devalued?
Yeah, you don't have that.
Right. You have it flat for a while, but you're not gonna have. All right, I spent $300,000 on a house. Now it's worth $200,000. You're not gonna see that.
Yeah.
So.
Now,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do believe now with some, I think that a lot of the price values increased a lot.
Right.
In the last couple of years,
right.
I've seen it. I'm like, it seems like these prices are going up. But yeah, value of the home's not going down. It might start settling.
Right.
Value start settling, and to where it should be.
Correct.
But it's not gonna be just some crash and I paid $300,000 for a house, now it's worth $200,000. No, you're not gonna see that.
Right. Yeah, I don't. And like I said, this thing what we do, especially in our community, that kind of, and it definitely comes to money, like you just mentioned. Like when it comes to money, it's a different ball game because, a lot of us, don't trust media on anything else, don't trust politicians, but when it comes to money, we fall right in line.
We believe whatever they say.
Whatever happens with money, we fall right in line, and it baffles me. It just I don't know what the deal is when it comes to money. Like we just can't conquer this money thing for some reason, and the game is here for us to be abundant. So I'm not. It's almost like a psychosis. It's almost like some type of mental block, I think. when it comes to money, and I just can't put my finger on it, what exactly it is, but it is something up with it. And this is the formula, and everybody knows it, and everybody makes good of it, except, except some people that choose to remain at the bottom of the barrel, and they get scared, when it comes, when times tighten up. And when times tighten up, that's not the time to. Now is not the time to be. I think maybe what it is that if you're trained to be a hyper consumer in a recession, now your habits as a consumer won't be positive. But if you're trained to be, have an investment mindset or a capitalist mindset, with this company, this country's for, then you should welcome recession. Because if you all you know how to do is spend money, then yeah, a recession is going to hurt you, because now you're not going to get as much money. You're still spending money on the same level that you have before. That's going to hurt you. But if you know what to do, all right, now I need to spend money, but instead of spending money on consuming, I need to spend money on Bitcoin and stock and stuff like that. Dump that money in there and watch my money grow. And that's what you should be doing anyway. Am I making sense?
Yeah, and I think people get scared by those words, recession.
Right.
Do people even really know what a recession is?
Right. I don't think we really know what it is.
If you got these doom and gloom people saying, "Oh, it's coming," and if you don't know what it is, you're like, "Oh no, what's going on?"
Right. And I think too, we fall right into that, and we talked about this a couple of shows ago. We fall right into that, that worker consumer mentality. And if you're a worker or a consumer and you don't value ownership, this might not be the show for you. But if you're aspirational to turn a page and like, hey, I want more than just that worker mentality, you might want to diversify yourself more than just that job, because I can understand why you're scared. If the only source of income is that job, then yeah, you kind of, you painted yourself in the corner. So you can't. We talked about this a couple of shows ago. You might want to diversify yourself and it's all set up for you now in this economy where you can get a YouTube show, you can get a Etsy account, you can get a Shopify, account. You can write books on Amazon. You can, everything's set up for you. You can do out of the convenience of your own home. And, you can make candles on the weekend. You can make cookies on the weekend and sell them on, there's so many things you could do. You could just go live and make reels and make money. You can make money on TikTok. Just dance in front of a camera, you can make money. Make funny faces in front of a camera. Put on your makeup in front of a camera and make money. So there's no excuses. And the reason why it's like this is for a reason. Don't let this pass you by, because what's going to happen is that money that's you're generating right now with this creative society, in a minute you're going to need when it's all tightened up. So you're going to need this money. So thou shalt not live by one paycheck alone. If you're a worker and you're aspirational, listen to our show. Of course, you need to diversify and you need to invest. And now's the time to invest and get different businesses and stuff like that. Now, have your 6-month nest egg. That's cool. We talked about this before. Have your bills, all your bills totaled up for the month, and have that times 6 in the bank. If you got more than that in the bank, you're wasting. That needs to be in stock. That needs to be in something that could make money. I don't keep nothing but my reserve, 6-month reserves in the bank. Other than that, it's in the market, it's in real estate, it's in something that's going to be, like Kevin O'Leary says from Shark Tank, making more money babies. And that's how it should be. If the bank takes your money and makes money off of you. So if you got a bunch of money sitting there in the bank, that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I heard somebody say that one time, that Banks don't even put their money in banks.
Right, right. Rich people make their own bank because they have these insurance policies where you become your own bank.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was called universal life insurance, where you put the money in the market, you become your own bank, and you earn 9% as opposed to 0.001%, whatever the going rate is right now. But if it's, and I'm gonna tell you in a nutshell, in a soundbite, why banks don't make sense. Because if inflation is 7%, and you make it 0.001, you're losing money.
Yeah.
Simple. You're losing money.
I don't know if they pay that much.
Right. If you're in a bank, if you got a whole bunch of money in the bank and they're paying you 0.1% and the inflation is 7%, you're losing 7% a year. That means that you got 10,000 in there, you lost 7,000 of that. 700 of that, and the bank is only going to pay you less than 100. You see?
And you went back. You talked about that show that we did a couple shows ago, and I think that was an important show where we talked about different sources of income and all the different ways that's out there that you can make money. I think that was one of the positive things that came out of COVID.
Right.
People were at home, and some people had got in a situation where they might have been laid off, where they had to come up with something to make money.
Right.
What they say, necessity is the father of invention. So they were put in situations where they got laid off, and they had to come up with something. And that helped them.
Right. Entrepreneurs everywhere got creative. Everything from these web restaurants, with the ghost kitchens, that was creative. There's so many different ways people got creative with COVID, and that go to show you, like I said, if push against the wall, the best gonna rise. Cream always gonna rise to the top, and the rest gonna fall by the wayside. So it just is what it is. So if you had that, and I see it, because I work in finance. A lot of people made out. Every natural disaster they make out. Going back to even Katrina. Harvey. People made out. If you know what you're doing. If you get all your eggs in one basket, you're gonna suffer the consequence. Let me ask people this question, and I open this. What advantages does renting another year? How does that help you financially? Because what happens is, a recession's about to come. Let me go ahead and rent another year. How does that help you?
There you go. That comes back to the fear.
Really ask yourself, how does that help you? Because what happens is, all right, let's see, you lose your job. Okay, now if you're renting something, that's you're even more in a timeshare, because if you miss the rent once or twice, now you get evicted. At least with a foreclosure, you can miss 3-4 payments before they start even thinking about foreclosing on you.
Yeah, they're not gonna do it. Rent is due on the 1st.
Rent is due on the 1st. You probably got a 5-day grace period.
Yeah, probably by the 10th. You need to start getting your stuff up out of there.
Right. So, really ask yourself, how does renting another year, signing another year lease, how does that help me financially? How is that the answer to my problem? How is that the answer to my fears? What does that solve?
And I think that, and it's that fear. It's like, and they don't know.
Right.
Like, why would I? And I try to think about this too, and I think some people are scared to own, and they think owning something is bad when things are bad. So I'm not, I don't even understand it.
Right.
Or own. And if I'm in the same, like you say, if you're in the same situation, if you lose your job, A, I'm renting, B, I'm owning. If I lose my job, at A, they're gonna want me out quick. B, I probably got about 4 or 5 months maybe
right.
to find something else.
And there's all kind of different. If you're FHA, there's all kind of different programs that'll work with you. You know, you could get deferment, forbearance. You can get all kind of stuff.
And that office ain't gonna. That office might work with you for. It might give you 3 days.
Right. So I mean, I don't get it. Is it like you said, we talk about all the time, is the responsibilities. Is it I'm not sure what the issue is. Do you feel that you're freer by renting? And I racked my brain about it, and I was watching the other day, and the answer came to me. Part of the answer, by the late great Kevin Samuels. I was watching one of his programs, one of the ones he did, like, I want to say a couple of years ago. He said that we are, in our community especially, are scared to fail.
Yes. There it is. I think that is it right there.
Right. I think you could ghost a landlord and nobody will know. But if you get foreclosed on, like your house, I think you're gonna be embarrassed in front of your whole family. And I think that fear alone gives us this arrested development.
Mm-hmm. Fear of failure, and not understanding that the majority of people who own businesses have failed.
Right.
At some point.
And that failure is part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have.
People that own these businesses, they didn't just walk out, open the door, and they're billionaires and millionaires. They worked late at night, and they might have came up with something and thought it was working, and nobody bought it.
Right.
Now let's go back to the drawing board and let's do something else. But yeah, that's fear of failure.
Fear of failure. And I think that's what it is. Like, in our community, we're so pressured to be perfect or to appear perfect.
And we talked about that in another show, trying to impress the Joneses.
Right. And we're so scared to be vulnerable. And because there's no support there. Like, if you fall, you're kind of on your own, for real. And we kind of point the finger and talk behind each other's back if somebody does fall, instead of lending them a hand. And that's part of arrested development as well. And arrested development means lack of maturity. Because if you're mature, you understand that people will have their ups and downs. And is it more adult to sit there and laugh at them or talk behind their back? Or is it more adult to give them a helping hand? And see, other communities do that. They're mature and they're classy enough to instead of isolating that person or talking behind their back, I'm gonna embrace that person and help that person get up. And that's what we lost in our community, and that's why we're at the bottom.
I totally agree. That fear of failure.
Right. Because if you have no support, think about it. If you not to cut you off, but I want to make this point, and then you go ahead. If you walk a tightrope and you have that net underneath, you'll be more likely to do that than opposed to walk that tightrope with nothing under there. You see, both of them scary, but one of them could be life changing. So if you walking that tightrope with nothing underneath, there's no support. A lot of people are not going to take that walk, and that's what it is. That's why a lot of people go back to renting, and they know it's not a financial. It's not the best thing. They know it's a waste of money. They know it's not going to solve anything, but it's fear.
Yeah, mentally, and what's going to happen if I fail? Everybody's going to be laughing at me, or everybody's going to be talking, like I say, everybody's going to be talking about me. Because if you get foreclosed on, they're going to put a sign on the house, and this house has been foreclosed on.
Right.
But if I'm in my apartment and things happen and I have to leave, I can come up with something. See, I want to go somewhere else.
Right.
Or you don't tell them anything at all. You don't know.
Right. Just move in the middle of the night. U-Haul in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah. U-Haul in the middle of the night. And so people know, and that's the one thing that people in our community, and I think we talked about this before, how we don't come together and support each other like we should, like other communities do.
Right.
I mean, you got other communities, it's 20 people in the house, and they're all helping each other out.
Correct.
But we got, first of all, we got to leave the house that we putting kids out at 18.
Right.
Because you 18 now, you get out there on your own, and we're not supporting them.
Right.
And then when they do fail, we want to talk about them. We want to laugh at them. I knew you wasn't going to be able to do that. Okay, so and that's what's going to end up happening later on in life when they get older. I don't want people to know what's going on.
Right. We go into a shell. And it's crazy because the people that you talk about, this your own niece, this your own nephew, this your own son, this your own, you know.
And these are the people that's supposed to be having your back mostly.
Right. This is crazy. So
you have people that, you know, some friends are better than your family.
Right.
Try to keep it.
Right. So it boils down to arrested development. And think about it. If you were to look at those actions through an observational lens, you would say that those actions, that's an action of an adolescent or a pre-teenager. Am I right or wrong? Would you know, and you got 50-year-old people, 60-year-old people that's doing the same actions that they would have taken if you're in high school or middle school. And that's what arrested development means. That means that you hadn't developed those skills yet. Those emotional IQ, the social skills, and just the you know, those skills, those soft skills are so important. And
about 50 and 60-year-olds, that brought something that reminded me back when I was in my younger days, when I did have an apartment. I remember seeing a sign in the parking spot at the apartments that said, I forgot the person's name, but it said, you know, 20-year resident. You've been living in this apartment for 20 years.
Right. Right.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
That's not something to be proud of.
Right. I mean, it's almost the same as a 40-year, you know, employee.
Yes.
Same thing. It's like, are you scared to branch out on your own? Are you scared to fail? You know, we talked about this on a podcast before. Like, why wouldn't you take those skills? If you've been on the job that long, you know how to run pretty much everything from A to Z.
You should have learned something.
You should have learned something where you could take one aspect of what they're doing and make some money. You know, so those days are gone. You know, I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But our audience, those days are gone where you work for a company and they give you a watch for 40 years. You know, my grandfather did that. He worked for a plant, and they gave him a pair of shoes and a watch. You know, and try to take most of his pension. You know, so I mean, we've seen what happened to our grandfathers and grandmothers. So that's why this generation, the Zennials, are a little bit different. They wanna, you know, create. Yeah, go ahead.
They work them to death. I was gonna say they work them to death. I had a couple of uncles that worked for Unco Steel here in Houston for 40 years.
Right.
Like you say, they give them a watch.
Right.
You built this company up that made those owners billionaires.
Right.
You know, worked there for 40 years. And one thing about most of these companies now that in this day and age now, these companies will let you go in a heartbeat for somebody making half and give half of what you make to somebody else.
Right.
They won't even think twice about it.
Right.
That's why you have to develop these skills, learn what you can at that job to help you get your own business. You know.
Right.
If you're working at a clothing store, learn how the marketing and the shipping and the merchandising. You should be learning all that.
Correct.
You know, so you can do it yourself. You might not be, you might find somebody to design it, but hey, you know how to market it now. You know how to get that merchandise out and do it yourself.
Right. But again, it's just a fear. Like I said, it's just a fear of failure, and they don't understand that you got to fail in order to succeed. It's almost like, this term happy. You can't be happy without being sad sometimes. It just is part of the human experience. So this fantasy that you're permanently happy is just that. It's a fantasy, and we live our life, trying to offer an emotion. Happiness is an emotion, and it's not always going to be happy. It's not a destination that you go to and you're permanently there parked. Everything ebbs and flows like the market. That's another thing is that we got to understand that it is constant work. It just is what it is. You got to constantly work at this thing. If you own a home, you got to. I give you, and this is bad in our community. I'm taking a side note, but it all relates to my point. I live out here in the suburbs. So I met with a guy I went to school with. Went to high school with. We were on a radio show the other day together. And we decided, hey, let's go to lunch. And he told me to go to this place that's in the third ward. So I hadn't been there in a while, So it's been a while since I've been in the third ward rolling around. And I was just taking a look around. It was almost like a shock of the condition. Like, damn, I'm like, why, not the shock. I've seen the hood before. I'm from the hood. But it's just the condition of the houses. Like, why, how do you let it get like that? Like, why are you still living in a house that is halfway falling down? You obviously got termites. Why didn't you just go out there and just, a Saturday or Sunday, instead of sitting on the porch, paint your house, fix the board, stay on top of it, so, and I think it's like, I think we want to get somewhere and then stop. And that's not how this works. And we're here to work for the rest of our life. It's not only once you get there, you got to maintain there, and then you don't want to stay there and stop. You want to keep on striving. And how that relates to what we were saying about the job is that a lot of people get these jobs and then stop.
Mm-hmm. They get happy and comfortable.
And they get comfortable and happy at these jobs, and they don't want to grow. They don't want to get the business owner. They don't want the responsibility. They don't want that smoke. They don't want to improve. You see, so they like the status quo. All right, this is what I'm gonna be, and that's it. And then there is no ambition to that.
Mm-hmm.
So
let me ask you this: going back to talking about that fear of failure, do you think? And I kind of think this that we're raising our kids and these young people to not fail, and the way I say that is we're in this everybody gets an award culture,
right?
Even though you haven't done anything, we don't allow them to fail. So when they get older, they think, okay, whatever I do, I'm still going to get my award. Or I'm still going to get whatever. I'm still getting that paycheck.
Right.
You think because I look at that and I'm like, I knew somebody that had a kid that was in playing baseball, and he said, yeah, the first meeting it was like 20-some kids there, but during the season it was only like 8 or 9 that were playing games. Then at the end of the year they had a banquet where everybody got a trophy, and there go those 20 kids again.
Right.
So it's like I'm just coming to get my award and leave. I don't want to fail. I don't want to lose games. And that's getting a little simplistic on it, but are we raising people to not fail? You have to fail.
Right. Well, it's the illusion of not failure. And we talked about this on the show. Stephen Contreras and I talked about it on the show like last year, right before we took the break. Called "Too Much Mommy, Not Enough Daddy." I think this is due to the result of the end of the patriarchy and too much feminine energy or motherly energy and into the atmosphere or that's getting into the culture, where it's no more natural selection, and natural selection is winners and losers. And that's just what this is, and the coddling of the culture. That, you know, I can't hear nothing offensive, I can't see nothing. Everything has to be censored and nice, and everything has to be in a certain order.
Nice and rosy.
Right,
Nice
everything
and
has to
rosy.
be, yeah. So,
I'm like you said, happy. I'm just happy all the time, but you're not gonna be happy all the time.
right, everything has to be, and it is more of a culture shift. And usually, you know, if you look at history, usually when it shifts, that means the demise of that particular empire. Usually, you know. So
Michael Jordan said, "I missed more shots than I made."
Right.
You know, but we only remember the ones he made.
Right. Right.
But he still had to take those shots.
Right. Well,
He didn't hit them.
certain things like sports, you know, and the cream always rises to the top. The people that understand this, which is very, very few, excel. The rest of the people kind of stay stuck because they've been coddled, and they don't understand. They want to take one or two steps and then fly. And if they don't fly, then it ain't for me. Let me do something else. You know, and they don't understand, like, when you were a baby or a kid, you fell more times than you walked, but you eventually got it.
Like riding a bike.
Right, riding a bike. You know, just because you fell once or twice, that don't mean it's not meant for you to ride a bike.
Mm-hmm.
But this is how we treat business. This is how we treat everything. We, you know, just like with advertising. You know, we advertise a month or two, and then that didn't get a customer, so we stop. And just like with anything, we do things once or twice, and then expect to blow up. And it's almost like that mentality, like back in the 80s and 90s with demo tapes. Like, you know, I'll make this demo tape and I'll put it in the right hands, it's going to blow up. That's gone.
Yeah.
With business, that's gone. If you trying to just blow up, you know, I just make something and it blows up, that's gone. Everything is day in, day out grind. Day in, day out grind. Day in, day out grind. And then eventually you're going to see those numbers. But you have to be disciplined with this, with business, with anything, with finance, you know. So, and that's what we're doing by coddling the actual kids. You're losing that grit, that grind, you know, that they don't want to do, and they want to just.
I was using that as that example because I think that plays a part in it, that we don't want to fail.
Right.
So
right.
I always want to be around making money. I mean, we can take it from the kid in the sports to a business.
Right.
Like,
I
want to do something, and everybody's gonna buy it, and then after a month, one person buys it.
Right, and they're ready to quit.
Ready to quit.
Right, and
try
that's
to refine it and make changes.
Right. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, they, you know, that coddling, they don't understand the grind, you know, and grind is not a 9 to 5. Grind is not unless you have aspirations or have a plan to learn and earn, you know. So the definition of grind is different, you know. Grinding is where you're going against, by definition, going against the grain. You know, you're rubbing something against the grain, and that's what it's almost like. It's like the stuff that you don't want to do. You know, you have to do. You have to work your social media. You have to do your pop-up shops. You have to build your brand. You have to get your trademarks and your legal stuff together. You have to get your patents together. You have to spend your money and invest in your brand and have your brand visible. This is all stuff that you have to do. You can't skip the steps, and you can't do one thing and then expect it to blow up. You know, and that's what we're talking about as far as the baseball. You're talking about the Little League or whatever. You just show up and you're going to get a trophy. And that's what you're creating by doing that. You're getting people that don't follow through, or if they do get a little bit of adversity, they quit, they stop, because they don't like losing, and losing is part of the thing. You're gonna strike out, you're gonna lose some games, you're gonna lose, you're gonna miss some balls, but you're not gonna be perfect. And again, it ties to
the best baseball players. The best baseball player hitter hit the ball 30% of the time.
Right. What is it's like a 300? What a 300 is a good average.
That's good. That's a real good baseball player.
That's an all-star average, right? 300, right?
Yeah, that's all-star.
So, but in our mind, we want to hit the ball 100% of the time. And it's just not going to happen. It's just not how the game is wired. And, and that's the thing, is like, and the same thing with everything else. We want to hit the ball 100% of the time. We don't want to take chances. We rather go into the shell, and I guess the shell's supposed to magically make things go away and better, and it doesn't. You got to fight. It just is what it is. So that's what, and that, it comes to maturity, back to the Arrested Development. Once you grow up and get to a certain point of class, and you understand that that's part of what this is. You can't have the highs without the lows. You can't have the wins without the losses. You can't have the happiness without the adversity. Because if you don't have the adversity, how do you know what happiness is?
Because everything's not going to go your way. How are you going to know how to navigate when this happened? Well, I did this. This happened to me back 3 years ago when I started my company. So now I can do B instead of going A. Yeah, if you don't know how to go around it, or how to get over it, or how to go through it, because every time it happens, you quit.
Right.
That's what's going to keep happening.
Right.
You're going to keep having those problems. You're never going to advance yourself.
Exactly. So, again, we could slice this from so many angles. I know we got to get out of here. We're at the 45-minute mark. But final thoughts and solutions. I open it to you, and then I go and give mine, and then we can roll up out of here.
Going back to that main thing is trying to get over that fear. And I don't know what specific things you can do, but getting past fear. That's one of the. That's going to be the main thing. Getting past that fear, not being afraid to fail, not being afraid that if I lose my job, I might have to go stay with for a little while. Or when I start a business, I might have to refine my product because it didn't sell like I thought it should. But getting over that fear, I don't know what specific things that you can do or someone can do to just get changing their mindset. I guess that's the main thing. Changing your mindset to not be fearful, or not saying not be fearful, but being able to overcome adversity.
Right. So, my final thought and solution. First of all, let's attack it from the nutshell. From develop. Don't be afraid to grow up. Don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to say, hey, what I thought as a teenager, that's no longer cool. Think about, and I always grow up but never grow old. However, you still want to carry yourself with a sense of class. You shouldn't be 40 years old talking about, I'm a gangster. So you should
rap.
Yeah, or you dropping your debut album at 35. It's up to you not to stomp on anybody's dreams, but it comes the chance. What are the chances? What are the odds? So I find it baked in our culture that the youth rules. Like we got 40, 50-year-olds still with their hat on backwards, pants sagging, trying to use slang words, trying to misspell text, and you are, and you're 50 years old, and you, K, and you know what I mean? So,
wearing skinny jeans
is trying to, you're trying to keep up with the youth, trying to look youthful, so, and we're probably the only culture that does this. Why are we scared to not go, get over the hump? Why can't we wear, like the late great Kevin Samuels said, wear a suit and look presentable? And, you got these other guys that want to overthrow, it's not our culture, but you live in the United States. Until you're not going to overthrow the government. So you got to play by the rules of the society, until you can get your own game and create the rules. So until then, go within, learn the rules, master the game. That way you can get more power and get your own game. But until then, trying to deny it, I think that's a sign of immaturity. Trying to go, trying to go opposite. That's not the way to fight the power. The way to fight the power is from within. So to go opposite, you just gonna, you got your pants sagging and wonder why you get, harassed at the corner store. Why are you at the corner store at 40 years old? Why are you hanging out? Why are you hanging out on the corner at 40 years old? You should be, married or, with a girl at that time. Why you got, 4 or 5 dudes deep at 30? Stuff like that. Why are you, why we could afford all this other stuff, all these expensive clothes, expensive toys, cars and other stuff. But why not therapists? Where's your money for physical trainer? Where's your money for, a speech therapist? Our etiquette coach. Why is that not prominent in our culture? To learn things, a life coach, accountability coach, to get you to the next level. But we'll spend the money on all the latest phone and the latest bundles and stuff like that. Then wonder why, it's not. It's 1 + 1 = 2. So, is your development arrested? So develop, grow up. Once you grow up and get mature, get around people that's making money. Get into other cultures. Expand your horizons. Get into other groups. Because think about it. If you hang around 4 broke people, the old cliche, you're going to be the 5th. But if you hang around millionaires, most likely you're going to be, their influence is going to rub off on you. So get away. Don't be afraid to get away from your homeboy and your homegirl that's not doing anything, even though y'all grew up. That's not keeping it real. That's keeping it broke. Get around people that's doing stuff. Don't be afraid to change.
Yes. Don't be afraid to change. You're not that same 15, 16, 17-year-old person, boy or girl from the hood.
Right. So that's one of the things.
Better.
Yeah, change. We're designed to change. This is the essence of everything. And you don't when you're a sperm that sinks with the egg, you don't stay 1 cell. You go to 2. Then 2 goes to 4, and so on and so forth. And these cells are constantly changing. New cells are developed. Old cells are dying. They say every 7 years you're a whole new person, body wise. So why your mental can't change? You see? Why do we have to? If you mispronouncing shrimp and lingerie at 15, why are you still mispronouncing it at 30? Is it cool? Is that, you think that's cool? Or, see, that's another thing we think. We try to do. We live our life for other people a lot. And we want to be cool. And what is cool? How is that? How can we we do monetize cool for some part, but everybody can't monetize cool. And why do we demonize corporate, or we call that square?
Or you know what I've heard before is you sounding white.
Right. So
I've heard that a lot. Say, no, I sound like I have some sense.
Right. So, I mean, it's just time to, I say this, develop, get better, change everything, shuffle the deck. You don't have to play the cards that you're dealt. Shuffle the deck. We had a Todd Duncan on the show. Not Todd Duncan. We had a guest on the show 2 years ago. We talked about shuffle the deck, man. Shuffle the deck. You don't have to play the cards that you're dealt. Shuffle the deck. And make changes. Then go from there. Get better. Don't be content with being the big fish in a small pond. Get in the big pond. Move cities. Get in the bigger city. Challenge yourself. That's another thing. We're scared to challenge ourselves. Because we're scared to fail. That's the nucleus of everything. But let's go ahead and wrap it up because we got like 4 minutes before Anchor cuts us off. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Again, my name is Brandon B. Dixon. Again, published author, serial entrepreneur, mortgage broker. Go to my website, www.applywithb.com. Get a mortgage. Stop being scared. Go ahead, stop making your landlord rich. Stop seeking security in renting. Stop, thinking that renting is the solution to your problem. It's not. It's actually putting you on a hamster wheel as far as financially. Take the step, become an owner. Get into the American dream. Get into the game. Because that's all this is a game. Get into it. You only got, supposedly, quote unquote, one life. Why not maximize that potential of that life? Why be that 20-year renter like Barrett has talked about? Why be that guy? Why not? Why can't you win? Why can't you be successful? And the reason why is because you yourself is keeping yourself down. Your fear is false evidence appearing real. You in your mind are making these things real that they're not really there. So what if somebody talks about you if you slip down and fall? So what if they make fun of you if you fail? At least I try. Would you rather not try and not get talked about? Or, live your life with regret the rest of your life? And I don't get it as well. We love haters. We like to talk about our haters. They're gonna hate anyway. So why are you scared to fail?
Give them something to hate about.
Give them something to hate about. Hey, talk about. Hey, you see me fall, talk about it. So
I heard someone say, if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong.
Right. So I mean, it is what it is. Let me shout out my sponsors, and then let's go ahead and wrap it up because we got like 2 minutes. Again, www.houstonCondoSales.com. Go there if you want to go ahead and get a condo in the Houston area, and then go to www.bullypalace.com for all your pet supply needs. Barry, go ahead and wrap it up. We got like 1 minute before it cuts us off.
All right. Hey, Barry Bolson, McKellar Williams, professionals. Just Google me. Homes by Barry B. www.homesbybarryb.com. If you Google me, you'll find all my platforms. 832-786-1270. Email is barryb@kw.com.
All right, and like I always say, my catchphrase, don't forget that God is a verb and personal responsibility is your only savior. And with that, we're going to say peace.